Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Online Journal Day 96, Fears and Insecurities. So yesterday I had a long talk with my wife about a few of her fears and insecurities. I will never downplay anyone's true emotions, but I must say I feel like they are ridiculous. I didn't say that to her, I just listened and was supportive. But in my mind I'm like, really? So this all began cause I was on a Discord video chat with London and Paris. Paris has made it a point to call me every day since I've been back. Sort of just updates me on her life, and since she's infatuated with some new guy, she's been talking to me about it a lot. I'm liking what I'm hearing, but London of course thinks the guy is lame. But she thinks he's cute. Paris met him at a GameStop at Mayfair. Apparently he was really into her RWBY shirt. She was there to pick up Resident Evil Village, which I refused to let her tell me about because I haven't picked it up yet. I also have yet to play 7. I know. Haven't played any of the new Dooms either, to my great shame. Paris hasn't moved out of my parents' house and is in my room now, which I'm cool with. As long as she doesn't go into my memorabilia case, we're Gucci. I got some very expensive and sentimental things in there. Signed albums, rare figures, and my CZ75 custom grip. Which admittedly she'd need a key to get to, but you know me, I worry. Anyway, Paris likes him a lot. His name is something silly and feminine, like Ashley, but apparently he goes to UWM and works for the cable company as an installer or something. Either way, fulfills my requirements as an approved individual for now. Job, direction in life, and hasn't revealed himself to be a douchebag. London then mentions that she hasn't really been looking for a new boyfriend. And I told her she should probably focus on her studies, which she whines and tells me she is. I tell her that her taste in men is rather shitty. And she tells me she jokes that she wants to find a guy like me, my dad, and my uncle. Paris says she likes this new guy because he reminds her a bit of me. And I'm flattered, but I'm like, not the best person to look to for an example of a good dude. I'm cynical, kind of jaded, and my personal life isn't the best right now. Yeah, I had many years of so-called married bliss, but most of that was built on a lie and insecurities just now coming to the forefront. To which both Paris and London seem to feel I'm being too hard on myself, and Paris flatly stated that I could do so much better than Amy. To which I asked, how can I do better than a woman I love? Which she replied, probably with a woman who loves you enough not to betray my trust. I had to give that one a swift reprimand and remind her that Amy's not perfect, but neither am I, nor she. And that she's got no right to judge Amy given how poorly she behaved. But Paris insists if she had a husband who spoiled and dotted over her like I did Amy, she wouldn't dream of ducking that up. Which London apparently agreed. I'm very glad Paris said what I was thinking, cause she chided her sister for having many episodes of infidelities in her past, and that if she had a boyfriend like Unfettered, she'd cheat on him the first chance she got. It allowed me to be magnanimous and say that I think if London had a good man in her life she may surprise Paris with her maturity. I think that she's ready for a change. In the back of my head I believe Paris to be 100% on the nose. London is the type of girl who always dates douchebags and would get bored with a stable nigger. But I'm happy not to be the one to say it. London then says she wants someone to love her like my dad loves my mom. And I'm like, my mom and dad are aliens. Never met a couple like them. That's just unrealistic relationship goals right there. All in all, it was a decent talk and I had some laughs with my cousins who are doing a little better. I must actually say I'm a little proud of London, as she's been getting serious about school and her future, and working to mend her relationship with my uncle, though there is this part of my brain that thinks it's all an elaborate ruse. I don't know, I think people can get better, I don't think they exactly change. But we'll see. Anyway, this led to a moment with Amy, who managed to walk in and listen in on this conversation. She tells me she liked it better when I hated those girls. I told her that they're trying and we should give them the opportunity to be better people, to which she huffed. After a bit of coaxing she tells me she hates dealing with women that fawn over me. Which, I'm like, that's news to me. I don't ever see anyone fawn over me. I'm not ugly, but I ain't handsome either. I'm actually painfully unremarkable and overweight. Amy gives me this side eye and says I attract strays. She talks about our neighbor down the street, who I'll admit is stupid hot, but is also a widower of 2 years with 3 kids. I told her that Sissy is in no way feeling me, or ever has. The woman barely spoke to me before her husband died. I played basketball with the guy in the park with other Doug and a work friend named Cody. She says that Sissy wasn't looking at me until her husband dies, but now she comes around just to bring snacks, or gossip, or talk. Brings her kids who call me uncle unfettered. I told her I always knew the kids, even when Sissy's husband, let's call him Paul, was alive. I taught the young one how to climb trees and do a backflip. Amy says Sissy is looking for a replacement and she's had her eye on me for years and is always brushing up to me and all that, and it makes her uncomfortable. She acts just like Paris and to an extent London does. Which I'm like, that's women logic. Sissy has a man, first off. And that dude's so handsome even I got to admit it. But Amy says that dude's a duck buddy and Sissy has been testing the waters with me for a year. She then goes on to talk about some of my work peers, Nami and Giselle. And I'm like, dude, if Nami was into me I'd have noticed. Cause I'll be honest, Nami is like someone took all the traits I find attractive in a woman, and my weakness for cute little Asian girls, and rolled them all into one. Nami is a freckle-faced, bespectacled, hottie, who looks like she came right out of a gamer girl booth. Firstly, Nami only cares about me professionally. I don't know who she's dating, but I'm almost 100% certain she's a lesbian. She's very touchy and huggy, but she's like that with everyone and I'm very clear about my boundaries. Amy goes on to talk about a few other women and I try my best not to say, I think you're just insecure and seeing things that aren't there. Listen, I do tend to have a lot of female friends. I work in a creative field, there are a lot of female artists and writers employed with my team. I am also the oldest person on my team, both in how long I've been with the group and in age. A lot of folks tend to gravitate toward me and rely on me. Folks are at my house for a lot. I ask why she isn't mentioning Keith. You know, the gay guy who is so obviously into me that he told me if ever I wanted to try it he'd suck the color off of my dick. And flirts with me in front of my wife. And dude's cute, if I was gay, I'd totally break his ass off a piece. She laughs and says, I'm not into bold people. I'm like you don't know what I'm into. And she laughs and says, if I want bang Keith she'd watch. Which I'm like, you, but okay. The point being, that I think that all of this is in her head. But she says that I'm just rather oblivious to the people around me. I'm like, yo, I'm a dude. Good dude, bad dude. My antenna is always up. I'm always looking. The difference between faithful and unfaithful is pursuing and looking with intent. Plus, folks like Sissy and Giselle have kids. I'm sorry, I just would never duck with a woman with kids. Not after watching what my uncle went through. On top of that, I don't feel like any of these women want me, and if they did, they wouldn't have wanted me back when they could get me. Dawn was my GF before Amy and she broke up with me over her racist ass family. Before that, I had a ton of girlfriends in college who only lasted a month or two cause they only wanted to duck their way up to a better caliber of baller. I was a nobody lineman on the team. They wanted to duck their way into the circle and move on to wideouts and QBs, dudes who might actually make it in the league. I learned real early where I stood with certain kinds of girls. When you're younger, you feel so hyped that all these women are trying to duck you. But you're just a tool. Just a thing, they don't like you. When given the opportunity to be with you, grow with you, you're not their type, they're looking for someone else. I've never been unable to get a woman, but I'm certainly not the dude douchebag all these chicks are looking for. I also don't want to be the stable, well put together dude they want to be with after they've had all their fun and got used up. Just, not me. And I certainly don't want to be anyone's duck around guy. I ask Amy where these insecurities are coming from and she admits she always had them. That she always noticed how girls treated me. Like all these women are looking for their big daddy and gravitate to me at some point and I'm just all oblivious with them hanging all over me. And she didn't let it get to her before, but now I have a reason to replace her. I tell her that if I was gonna duck around, I'd just leave, or talk to her about it. I mean she's bi, I don't understand why if that was something I wanted to pursue I couldn't talk it out with my woman. Get a girlfriend for us. I mean, it's a new age, relationships can do that. Cheating seems wholly unnecessary. Which she took as a dig against her, but it totally wasn't. I tell her that I love her, despite the fact that she did something really stupid and the only person with the ability to duck up our relationship is us. I'm not looking for complications and she needs to not worry about this bevy of fictional bitches who are miraculously into me, when there are so many better dudes around them. I can literally name like 7 in my work group who are single and better built and looking than I off the top of my head. If Nami wanted to switch teams, she'd have no shortage of willing and acceptable applicants. Trust me. I hugged her and told her, she ain't got worry about me. But in my head I'm like, oh you and you're believing in things that aren't real. Please. If this many women were actually on my jock, I'd notice. We'd all notice. We're men, but we're not as thick-headed as you think. Anywho, I asked her if she wanted me to rub her feet and she can tell me about this ridiculous YouTube channel she's been interested in. And we talk for a bit before I go make gumbo. I'm doing a keto version with gumbo file and okra for the thickeners, instead of making a roux from flour. Yeah I know, not sure how it's gonna turn out. Doing 2 kinds of shrimp, chicken thighs, and andouille sausage for the protein. We'll see how it goes. Do you remember how you found out how she sees herself and you just thought nah? This is the same. How she feels, her insecurities are not based on logic and most importantly not on your logic. They are just there. Try to accept them. This is not so much about understanding them, this is about acknowledging them and finding a way together how to approach them. Make that to the topic of this conversation. Instead of telling her that she has nothing to worry about, ask her how you can approach how she feels and her insecurities together. It sounds like she is projecting her behavior onto others, more than just insecurity. I can actually see her point. These women might be being careful not to give off strong vibes if they know you're married, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't be interested otherwise. Nor does it mean they aren't waiting in the wings for an opportunity. And based on your wit, intelligence, personality, and stability that comes through in your writing, I'd say you have a lot of attractive qualities. Don't assume women all want one type. And to be frank, your wife probably has a bit better insight into the female mind than you do lol. Just the way we are wired. No offense. I am sure some of it is insecurity, but she's probably dead on with at least 50% of them. And she needs to not worry about this bevy of fictional bitches who are miraculously into me. LOL. Dude. I can always count on you to honor us with at least one gem in your posts. Still my hero. People are like icebergs, what you can see is only the 10% of the total, and only the surface of that 10%. They came from somewhere else that shaped them before they came into your path, and are only your navigational hazard while passing through your zone. They can look stable and serene for long periods, but are subject to sudden capsizes, massive fractures, or gradual meltdowns over internal faults and external forces acting on them. Fears and insecurities don't have to be rational. They were formed from trauma, real or imagined, when we were at an impressionable moment, and are stuck in our brain at that moment. If you were 5 and frightened by a spider, you could be 30 and able to bench press a Chevy now, but when you see a spider, you are 5 years old again in your brain. Men and women are looking for something different at every stage of their life. Trust me on this one, what you want and are willing to settle for at 65 is not the same as when you were 15, 25, 35 or 45. Is that a sign of maturity or exhaustion? Some days, I dunno. Think of dating and relationships as a job search and interviews. If you have a job and a stable work history, you are more likely to get a better job somewhere else than raises in your current position. Sometimes you have to do job forum searches and apply, sometimes networking will reveal opportunities not open to the public, and if you are really valuable, you will be headhunted by offers. If you have long unexplained gaps in your resume, or frequently fired or changed jobs, red flags to hiring. Some folks moonlight on their job, some on their relationships. If a guy goes out to lunch or to a bar alone, but is obviously not busy and looking for companionship, women see him as a creep, or he just smells desperate to them. No male friends, no female friends equals red flag. But if he is hanging out with other guys, or a mixed group, or family, he is a bro, and you get to judge him by his status in the group. If he is with a date, then you get to judge him by the way he treats his date. Is he polite to people that he does not have to be polite to? Does he talk crap about people behind their back? How is he with kids? If he were to become available, would you want him? Sissy. Is he poachable now? Do you have what it takes to take him away from her right now? Is that a personal challenge? London. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.